ever since the cataclysm flooded their ancient shires beneath what is now known as the New Sea. The halfling folk have become a diaspora across the now fractured continent of Ansalon. Some traveled north, finding new homes in the nation of Solamnia. Others ventured south toward the cold and arid plains and the port cities which offered transport to new and distant lands. Of all the refugees, a few families journeyed eastwards towards higher ground, hoping to find sanctuary among the jagged mountains of Kerr. It was among these terraced fields that Harold's grandparents first settled their homestead, and made arrangements with a local orc tribe for protection in exchange for the cultivation of a silver-petaled flower, used by their warriors to unleash a ferocious war. Harold came from what he might describe as a situation. Life was full of violence and surrounded by people much bigger than him. He learned that keeping your ears open and fighting dirty was the quickest route to material success. But then the universe blessed Harold with Fiona, and the politics and intrigue of crime seemed to no longer matter. Together, the two left Jakar and settled in Solamnia, where the universe again blessed Harold with a son, Angus. Beautiful and tall and perfect in every way, Harold was not. The vision of himself he saw reflected in Fiona's eyes. And for a time, Harold and Fiona and Angus were happy. Until Angus did what young farm boys do, and went off in search of adventure, joining the Knights of Solamnia. And then Angus did what young soldiers do, and died fighting for some lord or some cause. And Harold and Fiona wept and grieved. But Fiona wanted to live. Halflings, after all, can outlive orcs by a century and are stubborn in their grief. So she started writing a list of things to do and experience. Slowly she coaxed Harold out of his mourning, and together they made a list of fantastic deeds. The only rule was that you couldn't say no to a single idea, no matter how far-fetched. Then, when the list was complete, they planned and saved and fell into an easy rhythm with the seasons, sowing, reaping, and taking the harvest to market, until they finally had enough saved to leave and never return. One day, as Harold packed, Fiona went to the city to sell the deed to their farmstead. Before she left, she bent over low, like she always did, and kissed him on the lips, like she always did, as Harold craned his head up to meet her. On her way home, Fiona was struck and killed by a drunken rider, the son of a local noble. By the time Harold found her, her skin had turned from the color of wet slate to marble. But he heard the story from a passer-by, who had stopped and tried to render aid. Harold thought of the smile on her face when she had left that morning, of the promise of adventure, of the way she had bent over low like she always did, and kissed him on the lips. Harold found the young noble and gutted him like a fish. Twice the universe had blessed Harold, and twice the universe had snatched those blessings away. Harold was tired. He placed the knife on his breast and thought of Angus and Fiona. And as he began to press down, something resisted the blade. It was the folded-up list that he had tucked in his breast pocket. Harold read it and knew what he had to do. Harold has a list, and Harold will finish that list.